I sit here in my study, my ovens boiling the impurities out of today's haul. The wolves I had domesticated some time ago lay at my feet as I write, their bellies full of the meat I gathered hours before. The land I came upon and worked and toiled has long since been made safe from the monstrosities, which I suppose is what has allowed me to become relaxed in my duties. Rather than my mind being focused on killing to survive, it is allowed to run free and wonder about myself and what's around me. Questions that were largely unexplored before my current amenities allowed for myself to think beyond a sword and shield. I woke up in a forest. I do not know how I came to be there. However, I do remember that first day, walking, trying to figure out my surroundings. Before I knew it, the sun was setting, and a mild breeze came through, telling me I needed shelter. I had spent too much time wondering, and not enough time preparing. Everything became a potential spot to rest for the night. But like my foolish actions during the day, I continued to look rather than make. When the foul creatures of the shadows began to emerge from the caves, I became wholly aware of my mortality. Shelter was no longer a question of comfort, but necessity. I spent that first, aching, fearful night in the high branches of a tree, praying the undead archers wouldn't spot me. After an unbearable time, the first rays of sunshine peeked over the hills, and my devilish companions were set ablaze. Utter relief came over me as I was finally able to relax. But that was a short-lived emotion. In a matter of hours, the sun would extinguish, and the moon would remind me of the place I held in the food chain. Tired, but determined, I constructed myself a small wooden shack, enough to take refuge while the sun did not protect me. It has been some time since then. I've learned a great many things through discovery and tragedy. My use of materials has become far more extensive and efficient. My armaments and defenses have seen improvements as well, allowing me to no longer fear the night, nor the abominations that inhabit it. And my procurement of food is to the point I no longer feel the pain of hunger for longer than I choose to. A far cry from the first days, huddled in a bare-bones shack, chasing down what animals I could get my hands on, and barely surviving the nights with my amateur weapons. In my venturing of the world, I have stumbled upon village folk among the many climates. They are fair people. They reside among themselves and trade with me when needed. I treat them as well as they have to me. However, encountering them has given me pause to ask myself, what am I to them? Am I just the same as them? Or am I something different? Something odd? My feats of creation far exceeds theirs, and while I do not judge them lowly for it, I do wonder why this difference is. The people that live there, I've shown them what is capable with the materials in the ground. Some of them were able to comprehend a portion of it. Most cannot understand and continue in what they know. In my expeditions, I have come across structures that seem to go beyond the capabilities of the villagers. Structures that I marvel at, but see the underlying construction of. I have even recreated these things, yet I have never seen anyone else living do exactly the same. The villagers seem stagnant, but content in their position. However, their aggressive counterparts have defied the stagnation. Enormous mansions, deep in the shaded woods of this world, have shown me strange things. These aggressors have built monuments to things I have seen in the wild, though they are false variations, merely surface equivalents. I suspect they wish to create what they have seen, but do not know how such things actually work. I can only imagine how maddening it must be to create a simulation of such monuments, but to never achieve true functionality. Perhaps there is a spark that I have that has been lost on others. Perhaps I belonged to these great ancient builders, though why I still exist and they do not, I cannot say. I am alone in a world that reminds me sometimes that I once wasn't.